Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do it's more of an unboxing to the OnePlus n100. I think the name's mixed up. This is a Metro by T-Mobile and a T-Mobile exclusive phone. It looks like the only companies that actually sell OnePlus devices outside of like Best Buy or directly from the website. It's going to be T-Mobile or it's going to be Metro by T-Mobile. Now, when you do a new line of service or even an add a line or a port, this phone is typically free. You just pay for the first month bill. Currently, Metro is waiving activation fees. They are doing that, but I don't know how long it's going to last. So anyone that's trying to pick up this phone for themselves or a family member, or they need a new number, they want to add a line, this is a free phone. So anyway, let's just show you what comes inside the box. And I'm all over the place. I did already take the phone out of the box. So I just put it here just for some thumbnail reasons. Inside of this, it's the typical case, all the books that come with it, the startup guide. Oh, also the SIM injection tool. Practically every phone comes with that now. Inside the box, you're going to have, I took this out, you're going to have the charging cable, of course. And this isn't necessarily true to most OnePlus phones. More, the what's it called? The N10 5G and up all have 30-watt charging or 65-watt charging. This particular one does not have warp charging, but it does have an 18-watt fast charger brick. So it supports 18 watts, while a lot of phones to this day still only support 15 in the mid-tier market. Normally 15 maximum, but this one will support 18. The brick comes inside the box, something Apple and Samsung should be doing, but you know how it is when a company becomes big, they start taking away features and acting like it's a privilege. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about this phone right here. So take a look at it right here. As you can see, this is how the phone looks. 3 triple camera setup. I am going to go through each camera to let you know how it is. Later in the week, I'll do an actual camera test, but for now, it's just a quick unboxing just to show you the type of phone it is and if it's worth buying, especially on what you decide to use it for. So with that being said, this is a 6.5-inch phone, number one. It does have 4 gigs of RAM, and it has a 5,000 mAh battery. So if you're looking for something that has decent long battery life, this is definitely a phone that you want. Now, I'm not going to spit a bunch of random stats about the phone lasts for 3 days and all that. No phone lasts that long. So when you watch a video and it says this phone lasts for 3 days of minor use, no, it doesn't. Phones typically last between 6 to 8 hours of on-screen time if you're talking on a phone, if you're watching Netflix, if you're playing video games. It's a combination of what you do on your device that determines how long it lasts. And for those phones that say they last for a day and a half, typically they're talking about standby time while you're using it mildly. It's a bunch of parameters. Like they're not incorporating the entire 5G. They're not incorporating 4G LTE. Like it's a lot of things that aren't being incorporated when they do that battery test. But for actual usage, you're not going to get a day and a half out of a phone. It's just not possible. So moving forward, this phone does come with Android 10. Hopefully, they do decide to update this thing to Android 11, which is typically the standard right now because they're practically almost at Android 12 already. So I don't know why they're still selling phones that have Android 10 on it. But typically in the mid-tier or lower market, because this is definitely considered the average phone. This is definitely below mid-tier. Mid-tier, I think, is a Snapdragon 750 at least in the phone and a minimum of 6 gigs of RAM. While typically lower-end phones now come standard 4 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 450, which is what this phone has, but I'll mention that again later in the video. So this is like an entry-level phone. You're just looking for something that looks nice, has a style, as you can see. It's a nice-looking phone. Very nice-looking phone. Surprisingly nice-looking, especially given the price and what they're selling it for. Your volume rocker is right here, if you can see it in the video. Your power button's right here, which is what I normally prefer, but I know a lot of the current phones tend to have the volume and the lock button on the same side, which I don't care for that design too much. You do have your USB-C. Like I said, it's an 18-watt charger. And over here, you're actually going to have your headphone jack, which is something that every phone should have. But again, when you reach that high-tier market, it's more so about style and how it looks rather than functionality, to me at least. Because when you pull features away, I'm not paying more money for that. That's typically why I normally stay to the mid-tier market. What can I say about this phone right here? So like I said, 64 gigs internally. This does have an SD card slot. I forget how high exactly it can go, but typically I carry a 256 gig memory card in every phone that I have, and this can definitely handle that. That's not an issue. The only thing that's really disappointing is the screen is 720 by 1600. So you're going to have a 1700 screen. So 1700. You're going to have a 720p screen. But on the other hand, your PPI, for anyone that knows what that is going to be 268. To me, the minimum a phone should be at least in the 400s. But it is what it is. Again, for what you're paying for, this is what you get. And this is a decent device to someone that doesn't do much gaming on it. Like it can run Call of Duty in certain games, but you're going to definitely have to put this on the lower settings, like literally the lowest settings with the lowest frame rate. And if you're going to do that, then you're better off going to the Big Brother model, which is the N10 5G. But if money is an issue, like I said, you can practically get this free in the store right now just by doing an add-a-line. And that's an amazing deal when you look at other carriers and they're charging you, Cricket, like for instance, is charging you $10, $20, $30 for a phone that shouldn't even exist in 2021. That I'm sure was made in 2005, but they still charge regular pricing for some of their old devices. Now, I will say that this device is not a 5G device. It is a 4G device, to be exact. Let me just double check and make sure. Yes, this is an LTE device. It does not have 5G. Now, I will say that because the 5G infrastructure isn't fully up, especially in my city, I'm in Philadelphia, you are going to notice slower speeds. But if you've already had a phone that has LTE, you know what to expect. 5G is faster, don't get me wrong, but it's not so much faster that you're going to say, oh my gosh, I can't use 4G LTE anymore. You can. You'll be fine. Plus 4G LTE, because that's what the towers are working with normally, it actually helps your battery life a little bit more using 4G than 5G anyway. 5G has been destroying my battery. What else do we have here? So, again, let's talk about and it is using Gorilla Glass 3 for anyone that wants to know the thickness of the glass. Now, back here. Oh, in addition, this does have a 90 hertz screen, believe it or not. The video that I'm recording on, the phone I'm using, is actually the Motorola Ace 5G, which is also under Metro, which I'll do a review on that on the next video. But I'm actually doing a recording on that, and I'm recording the audio through the Anchor Liberty Air 2 Pros. So like I said, I always use the products so I can kind of promote what's going on. You know, if you like the sound quality, don't mind my lisp. That's just the way I talk. But if you like the sound quality, then remember, just remember the products, because I'm always going to review exactly what I use on this channel. So anyway, moving forward, you're going to have your 13 megapixel camera right here, your 2 megapixel macro, and your 2 megapixel depth. Now, what I will say about this is typically, I'm not going to say these cameras are just for show, these two, but they don't get this. This isn't the equivalent of, actually, the regular Pixel 4 would have a better camera than this, the 4A 5G, you know, even though they don't have multiple. Well, the 4 had one lens, and the 4A had one lens. No, the 4A, I'm sorry, had one lens. Anyway, this isn't a high quality camera. What I will say about OnePlus phones is they don't tend to have extremely high-end cameras. The 9 Pro or the 9s might, especially if they did a software update to fix the problem. But when I compare these to, let's say, a Galaxy or an iPhone, OnePlus cameras in general, they're always going to be a cut below, unless they do something amazing and magically become the number one in cameras. I don't see that happening, but again, they're known for fast charging. And again, this one has 18 watts, not the standard 30, but still pretty good for a phone of this caliber. The front camera is going to be 8 megapixels. Both the front and the back camera, when it comes to video recording, can do 1080p 30 frames. It can't do 60 like most of the mid-tier phones, and that's fine. Because again, if you're doing an upgrade and you're upgrading to this phone, realistically, you're not coming from a high-end or mid-tier phone. You might be coming from an Alcatel device, or if you're a Metro customer, you might be coming from an older LG device, a Aristo or something like that. So this is definitely an upgrade compared to those phones. If you're looking for something, again, more higher end, go for something that has a minimum of 6 gigs of RAM. and you'll notice a huge boost in your performance when it comes to switching out applications and using apps. But other than that, this phone does work very well. Again, like I said, it does have the headphone jack. It is a Snapdragon 450. I forgot to mention that one. I know I said it earlier in the video, but I'll elaborate a little bit more on that. The Snapdragon 450 to me is the bare bones processor that you can get. It's for a phone to talk, text, web browse, social media, things like that. But when you start using it for a gaming or video editing or etc., because I'm just starting off with the video editing, especially on a phone, and I'm totally noticing the difference between the OnePlus I was using, between the Motorola, between the A52, because I constantly switch my phone. Should have started this channel years ago if I had a million phones and didn't do that, but you know, it's never too late. And this camera, it's not bad. Typically when you're outside or it's stationary. But if you're moving around a lot, you're actually trying to capture like a concert or video, I would not suggest this one. It's possible for the memory, but I would always go with a better phone when it comes to cameras. If camera's your thing, this isn't going to, actually, matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that up on this phone. I really did go to the gallery. Here we are. So I don't think my camera is going to do it justice to show you through this, but it's okay. It's not a bad camera. It definitely does the job. I'm not big on taking pictures, to be honest. I'm bigger on processors and gaming. So typically in my videos, you'll hear me talk about certain games that do require a decent processor and a certain amount of RAM to be able to play. I don't deal with the Candy Crush. That's perfectly fine on 90% of phones. I don't deal with Temple Run. That phone has been out when I was in my 20s. I mean, that application. So I'm always going to use apps that run the software or run the phone warm, especially when the processors are running, to see if this device can actually handle it. The only reason I'm not doing it for this one is, like I said, this is going as a birthday gift. So, you know, I don't want to just download a whole bunch of stuff. No, I want them to get the experience of opening it, even though I already did and the store did. But it is what it is. So, like I said, OnePlus n100. If you like the device, the way the device looks, it is a beautiful looking phone. Let me switch fingers. It is a beautiful looking phone. It doesn't look cheap. It doesn't have the premium feel, but it doesn't have that cheap plasticky feel that you tend to have with a lot of the mid-tier Motorola phones. Like, you can look at a Motorola phone and be like, oh, this looks cheap. Even though it has some decent parts in it and it'll run very well, sometimes the physical appearance of a phone is an absolute turnoff. And I can honestly say that I like the way this looks. In truth, I wish my phone looked like this rather than the clunky, chunky thing that it is now. But it is what it is. Any questions, like, subscribe. And I will see you in the next one with the Motorola One Ace 5G review. Till then, take care.